The research station Harmony's Edge floated quietly in space between three bright stars. Inside the big metal building, 12-year-old Kim Hana pressed her small hands against the thick glass window. She watched many strange ships from different planets come and go like busy bees. "Look at all those ships," Hana said softly to Park Dae-ho, the kind man who came with her to keep her safe. "Each alien race thinks about math in different ways, but the basic ideas are all the same." The Galactic Council had asked Earth to send their smartest child to learn about other worlds. Hana was special because she could understand how alien creatures lived and thought better than most adults. Ambassador Lee Jiwan walked over to them. His face looked worried. "The big meeting starts in 10 minutes, Hana. Remember, you are here to watch and learn. Let us grown-ups do all the talking." The Siam meeting room was amazing. It had special air for creatures that breathed different gases. It had gravity machines so beings from light planets and heavy planets could all feel comfortable. In the middle of the room sat the Vorthak aliens. They looked like big lizards with electric sparks dancing on their skin. High Counselor Thexvar was the biggest Vorthak. His scales were dark green with silver points sticking out of his back. He was giving a long speech when Hana noticed something wrong. The translation machine in the center of the room was shaking and making strange lights. This machine was very important to all the alien races. It helped them talk to each other even though they spoke different languages. Without it, nobody could understand anybody else. Ambassador Lee, Hana whispered, pulling on his sleeve. "Something is wrong with the translator. If it breaks while everyone is talking..." The machine started making loud buzzing sounds. Dangerous energy was shooting out of it in all directions. Hana knew that if it exploded, it might hurt everyone in the room. Without thinking, the little girl ran toward the machine. She reached out her hands to touch it and try to fix it. Hana had studied these machines for months and knew how they worked. She thought she could make it stable again. "Stop right there!" Thexvar's voice boomed like thunder across the room. His electric skin got brighter and scarier. "The human child is trying to damage our sacred machine." "No, she is trying to help," Ambassador Lee shouted back, but nobody listened to him. Thexvar raised his clawed hand. Blue electricity jumped from his fingers and hit Hana like lightning. The small girl screamed and fell to the floor. Her body shook as the alien electricity burned through her. Dr. Min Kyung, the human doctor, ran to Hana as fast as he could. He knelt down and tried to help her, but the damage was too bad. The electric attack had hurt her brain and heart. "Please," Park Dae-ho begged all the aliens watching. Tears ran down his face. She was only trying to prevent an accident. She wanted to help everyone. She did not know she was not supposed to touch it. Thexvar looked down at the dying child with cold eyes. Not knowing the rules is no excuse. The primitive human should have been more careful. Hana's eyes fluttered open one last time. She looked at Park Dae-ho and whispered, "I am sorry I could not fix the translator for everyone." Then she closed her eyes forever. The little girl who had come to space to help different races understand each other died on the cold metal floor. She had lived for only 12 years, but in her short life she had been kinder and smarter than most adults. The other aliens in the room stood quietly. Some felt bad about what happened, but they were too scared of Thexvar to say anything. A few alien doctors tried to help, but it was too late. Ambassador Lee held Hana's small body and cried. Dr. Min Kyung checked for a heartbeat but found nothing. Park Dae-ho just sat on the floor, staring at the child he had promised to keep safe. The Galactic Council meeting continued as if nothing had happened. They moved Hana's body to another room and kept talking about trade and politics. Later, they would write an official report calling it an unfortunate cultural misunderstanding. But 3 humans had seen the truth. They had watched a child die for trying to help. They had seen her killed by a creature who felt no shame for murdering an innocent girl. The news would travel back to Earth in a few days. When it did, everything would change forever. Director Cho Min-ho stood in front of a room full of the most powerful people on Earth. Presidents, generals, company leaders, and scientists all sat quietly, waiting to hear the news from space. His hands shook as he held the electronic pad with the official report. "The Galactic Council says that Kim Hana died in an accident," he said slowly. They claim she touched some alien technology by mistake and got hurt. The room stayed silent, but everyone could feel the anger building. These leaders had sent a 12-year-old girl to represent all of humanity, and now she was dead. General. Yang Sujin raised her hand. Her face was hard as stone. Director Cho, we have received some secret recordings from the space station. The real story is very different. She pressed a button, and suddenly everyone could hear Hana's voice through the speakers. They heard her trying to help fix the translator. They heard her scream when the alien hit her with electricity. They heard her last words, apologizing for not being able to help. President Kim Tae-jun of the Pacific Federation stood up. His voice was quiet, but everyone could hear the rage underneath. They murdered a child who was trying to help them. All around the room, people started talking at once. Some shouted angry words. Others demanded immediate war. But then something strange happened. All the noise stopped, and everyone became perfectly quiet. "What do we do?" asked Director Park Yuna, who was in charge of the Mars colonies. President Kim looked around the room at all the faces staring at him. Rich people and poor people, soldiers and scientists, people from every country on Earth. For the first time in human history, every single person wanted the same thing. "We bring our people home," he said. "Every human living on alien worlds comes back to Earth. We stop all trade with the aliens. We end all peace agreements. We close our doors." "What message do we send to the council?" asked someone from the back of the room. President Kim thought about little Hana, lying dead on that cold metal floor. He thought about her kindness and her bright smile. He thought about how she had died trying to help creatures who saw her as nothing more than a primitive animal. "Die," he said simply. The word spread through the room like fire. Everyone nodded. No long speeches, no complicated demands, just one word that said everything. Fleet Admiral Song Hyunwoo took charge of bringing millions of humans home from space. Colonies all over the galaxy. Ships that usually carried trade goods now carried families running back to Earth as fast as they could travel. The aliens tried to talk to them. Council ships followed human vessels, sending messages asking what was wrong. Every time they got the same answer: die. Dr. Lim Jisoo worked day and night in her secret laboratory deep under the ground. For years she had been developing weapons that no alien knew about, technologies that used everything humans had learned from peaceful contact with other species. "How long do we need?" General Yang asked her. 6 months, Dr. Lim answered, not looking up from her work. "Give me 6 months and then we can make them pay." All over Earth, factories stopped making normal things and started making weapons instead. Scientists who used to study peaceful uses of alien technology now figured out how to turn that same technology into tools of war. The aliens kept sending messages. They offered money. They offered better trade deals. They offered to punish the Vorthak who had killed Hana. But every message got the same response: die. Lee Ji-won, the ambassador who had watched Hana die, spoke to the emergency meeting. "They think we are just angry children having a tantrum. They do not understand what they have done." "What have they done?" asked President Kim. "They have unified humanity," Lee answered. "Rich and poor, every country, every person on Earth now has the same enemy. They killed our child, and they think it does not matter because we are primitive." Commander Nam Suho, who had worked on alien space stations for 10 years, brought back detailed information about alien technology, alien biology, and alien weaknesses. Information that had seemed like innocent scientific curiosity was now intelligence for war. "They welcomed us into their homes," he told the war planners. "They showed us everything. They never thought to hide their secrets from the primitive, humans." As the months passed, strange things started happening in alien space. Ships disappeared without sending distress calls. Communication networks failed for no reason. Small colonies lost contact with their home planets. The Galactic Council tried to investigate, but their ships that went to look for problems never came back. On Earth, Dr. Lim smiled as she watched her creations work. "They wanted to teach us about being civilized," she said quietly. "Now we will teach them about being human." Retry's Captain Vorthak was flying his big cargo ship through the empty space near the asteroid belt. His ship was full of rare metals that aliens needed for their technology. He had made this trip hundreds of times before without any problems. "Control tower, this is cargo ship Stardancer," he spoke into his radio. "Everything looks normal out here. I should reach the trade station in 2 hours." Those were the last words anyone ever heard from him. The ship with its crew of 12 aliens simply disappeared. No explosion, no emergency signal, no pieces of metal floating in space. One moment the ship was there, and the next moment it was gone. Admiral Kolesh of the Council Defense Fleet read the report and shrugged. "Probably hit an asteroid or got attacked by space pirates. These things happen sometimes." But then the Altair communication array went silent. Chief Engineer Nam Suho had worked on that system for 5 years before all the humans went home. He had built it to work perfectly for decades without any help. The massive network of satellites and relay stations had never failed before. Now every communication device in the system was dead. Ships could not talk to planets. Planets could not talk to each other. Entire star systems were cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Counselor Vextar called an emergency meeting. He was a tall, thin alien with blue skin and 4 arms. "Something is wrong," he told the other council members. "The humans have been silent for 4 months. Their behavior seems planned, not emotional." High Counselor Thexvar, the one who had killed Hana, laughed with a harsh sound. "Primitive creatures having a tantrum. When they get hungry enough, they will come crawling back to beg for trade." But Dr. Chinvar, the alien scientist who studied human behavior, was worried. She had spent years learning about human history and culture. "Humans are different from other species," she warned. "When they feel threatened, they become very dangerous. We may have made a terrible mistake." The other council members ignored her warnings. They were too proud to admit that primitive humans could threaten their advanced civilization. More strange things kept happening. The Voran mining colony stopped answering radio calls. 300 alien families lived there, digging valuable crystals from asteroids. Ships sent to check on them found empty space where the colony used to be. The Nexus Trade Hub, a massive space station where dozens of alien species bought and sold goods, suddenly lost all power. The station was still there, but everyone inside was dead. The life support had failed, but there was no sign of what had caused the failure. Observer Han So-young was a smart alien who worked for Council Intelligence. She studied all the reports and found a scary pattern. "These are not random accidents," she told her bosses. "Someone is attacking our communication networks, our trade routes, and our colonies. The attacks are planned and coordinated." "Impossible," Thexvar said angrily. "Humans do not have the technology for such attacks. They are barely able to travel between stars." Han So-young looked at him with sad eyes. "We never asked what technology they were hiding from us. The truth was that humans had been learning and planning for years. While the aliens thought humans were just curious visitors, the humans had been studying everything. Every alien ship they rode on, every alien computer they worked with, every alien weapon they saw. Station Commander Lee Minjae had left detailed records when he evacuated the research station where Hana died. Intelligence officers who finally read his files discovered something frightening. Every human scientist and diplomat had been taking careful notes about alien technology and biology. What the aliens thought was innocent scientific interest was actually military intelligence gathering. The disappearances got worse. Entire trade fleets vanished without a trace. Important government officials stopped answering their communications. Military bases reported equipment failures that made no sense. And through it all, every attempt to contact Earth got the same cold response. "Die." "Why do they keep saying that one word?" asked a frightened counselor during a secret meeting. "Because they mean it," Han So-young answered. "They are not negotiating. They are not making demands. They are announcing their intention." Dr. Chinvar had spent months studying the recordings of Hana's death. "The child was trying to help us," she said quietly. "She died trying to prevent our translator from breaking, and we called her primitive." The council chamber fell silent as the aliens finally began to understand. They had not just killed a human child. They had killed a human child who was trying to help them. And now the entire human species was hunting them with patience, intelligence, and technology they had never suspected existed. Outside in the darkness of space, human ships moved like invisible predators, watching and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Fleet Admiral Zektar commanded the biggest war fleet the galaxy had ever seen. 12,000 ships from 47 different alien worlds flew together toward Earth. Each ship was armed with the most powerful weapons in space. The alien leaders were confident that this massive force would make the humans surrender. "Today we end this foolishness," Zektar announced to his fleet. "The primitive humans will see our power and beg for mercy." But they never reached Earth. Captain Oh Jin-soo sat in his hidden observation post on Saturn's moon Titan. Through his advanced sensors, he watched the alien fleet approach Jupiter. The ships looked like a swarm of angry insects flying toward the sun. "Here we go," Oh Jin-soo whispered into his radio. "The test begins now." One moment, 12,000 alien ships were flying through space. The next moment, there was nothing. No explosions, no flashes of light, no pieces of metal floating where the ships used to be. The entire fleet simply stopped existing. The technology that did this was the result of everything humans had learned during years of peaceful contact. Dr. Ann Rachel and her team had spent months creating weapons that the aliens could never imagine. Phase shift. Cannons that could make weapons pass right through alien shields as if they were not there. Computer viruses that could destroy alien artificial brains from the inside. Tiny robot hunters smaller than dust that could track the smell of specific alien blood. But the real weapon was something more dangerous than any machine. It was the human ability to adapt and learn from everything around them. Colonel Park Woo-jin led the first direct attack against the hegemony homeworld. But he did not bomb the planet or fight their armies. Instead, his team quietly destroyed the orbital machines that kept the planet's air breathable. The hegemony were fish-like creatures who needed perfectly controlled air and water to survive. Without their orbital systems, their entire planet would become unlivable in just a few weeks. "Give us the murderer Thexvar," was the only message the humans sent. The hegemony leaders tried to negotiate. They offered money, technology, and peace treaties. The humans responded by making the air poison faster. Commander Bai Ji-young coordinated attacks on 17 different worlds at the same time. Each attack was perfectly designed to hurt that specific type of alien in the worst possible way. For aliens made of carbon like humans, she used biological weapons that attacked their cells. For aliens made of silicon like living computers, she used electromagnetic pulses that fried their brains. For aliens made of pure energy, she used gravity weapons that tore them apart. The aliens tried to fight back, but their attacks hit only empty human colonies and automatic defense systems. The humans had learned from every alien species they had met. They had copied every alien technology they had seen. They had turned every piece of information into a weapon. Dr. Yu Ji-hoon created diseases that could tell the difference between different alien species. His viruses would kill Vorthax but leave Zentari completely healthy. They would destroy hegemony but not harm Nexari. Engineer Kim Dong-hyun built self-copying mining robots that ate entire asteroid belts. When alien fleets tried to run away, they found no fuel or raw materials to keep their ships running. The galaxy's former rulers were being systematically exterminated by the species they had called primitive. "What do they want from us?" cried Councillor Veltar during an emergency meeting of the few surviving council members. The answer came from Admiral No Sulgi, broadcasting from a secret human base. Her voice was cold and emotionless. "We want the death of everyone responsible for Kim Hana's murder, starting with Thexvar." "But the child's death was an accident," Veltar pleaded. "No," Admiral No replied. "It was murder. And now you learn the price of murdering human children." The remaining alien governments tried everything. They offered to make Thexvar their prisoner. They promised to pay huge amounts of money. They begged for peace negotiations. The humans ignored all of it. They had moved beyond wanting justice. or revenge. They were now focused on a single goal: the complete elimination of every alien species that had supported or allowed Hana's death. Planet after planet fell to human attacks, not through massive battles, but through precise strikes that turned each world's own technology against itself. The aliens discovered too late that humans had been studying them far more carefully than anyone had realized. What the Council had seen as primitive curiosity had actually been strategic intelligence gathering for future war. The hunt had begun, and humanity had become the galaxy's most efficient predators. They had learned that some lines should never be crossed, and they were teaching that lesson to the entire universe, one dead world at a time. The final meeting of the Galactic Council took place in a hidden bunker deep inside an asteroid. Of the original 847 alien species that had ruled the galaxy, only 23 were still alive. The rest had been completely destroyed by human attacks or had surrendered their leaders to human justice. High Counselor Thexavar sat alone in the center of the room. The proud alien who had killed a human child now looked old and weak. The electric sparks on his skin barely glowed anymore. His silver spines had turned gray. "I offer myself," he said in a quiet voice. "Take my life in exchange for sparing the remaining worlds." The answer came from Fleet Admiral Song Hyunwoo, speaking from Earth through a video screen. His face showed no emotion. "Your offer is not acceptable. The price for killing our child is not one life. It is everything." Dr. Lim Jisoo had finished humanity's final weapon. It was called a quantum cascade device, and it could destroy all life on entire star systems while leaving the planets and buildings untouched. 23 worlds now faced complete extinction unless they agreed to human demands. "What do you want from us?" asked Counselor Prendar. He was one of the few aliens who had tried to help Hana when she was murdered. President Kim Tae-jun appeared on the screen next to Admiral Song. "Complete surrender. The Galactic Council must be dissolved forever. Every alien who supported or allowed Kim Hana's murder must be executed. All galactic civilization will be rebuilt under human control." "And if we refuse?" whispered another alien counselor. General Yang Soo-jin gave the answer with a cold smile. "Then you join the 824 species we have already eliminated." The vote was quick and unanimous. Total surrender. 6 months later, Commander Lee Jung-hyun stood on the bridge of humanity's new flagship. The ship was named Kim Hana in honor of the murdered child. It was built from the metal and technology of 1,000 conquered alien worlds. Through the big window, he could see Earth surrounded by massive shipyards. Humans were building new ships and space stations, using the best technology from dozens of alien civilizations. The galaxy was being rebuilt according to human rules. The war had lasted only 18 months. In that short time, humanity had changed from friendly explorers who wanted to make alien friends into the galaxy's most feared predators. They had learned a lesson that would change how all species treated each other forever. Memorial Director Park Min-ji wrote the final entry in the official human records. Kim Hana, age 12, died trying to help aliens understand each other better. In response, humanity taught the galaxy that harming our children costs more than entire civilizations can afford to pay. The surviving aliens lived under strict human oversight. They were allowed to exist, but only if they followed human laws and human values. Children of all species were protected by severe punishments. Any adult who harmed a child would face immediate execution. The new galactic government was run entirely by humans. Alien species could request permission to trade, travel, or build new colonies, but the final decision always belonged to humans. Some aliens complained that this was unfair. They argued that not all species had supported Hana's murder. They pointed out that many aliens had tried to help the human child. The human response was always the same. You could have stopped it, but you chose not to. Now you live with the consequences. Texvar was executed publicly on his home planet. His death was broadcast across the galaxy so that every alien could see what happened to those who harmed human children. The execution was quick and clean, but the message was clear. The rebuilt galaxy was safer for children of all species, but it came at a terrible price. Entire civilizations had been wiped out. Billions of aliens had died. Advanced technologies and beautiful cultures had been lost, forever. Yet humans felt no guilt about what they had done. They had tried friendship and cooperation, only to watch their child be murdered for trying to help. The galaxy had taught them that kindness was seen as weakness, so they had chosen to be strong instead. Years passed, and new alien species were discovered. When human ships made first contact with these civilizations, the humans always began with the same message. We come in peace, but harm our children, and we will destroy you completely. The galaxy remembered the lesson. Children became the most protected members of every society. Wars between species became rare because everyone knew that humans would intervene to protect the innocent. The price of one child's life had been the transformation of galactic civilization itself. Kim Hana's death had made the universe safer for every child who would be born after her, but it had cost the galaxy its innocence forever. Humanity had kept their promise. They had made the aliens die for what they did to their little girl.